Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon with which you can use to change the world. When I was in school, almost 5.5 decades ago, the walls of the school were plastered with maps, and the maps had lines. Those lines were beautiful, but those lines divided the world into countries, states, and districts. Those boundaries told us where we belonged and often where we did not. But let me ask you this. Do those boundaries still define us? Because if education is the passport to the future, shouldn't it be borderless? The education system I grew up in, most of us grew up in, was designed for the industrial age. It was efficient, but it was also limiting. The education system, geography decided with whom we could study, where we could study. Disciplines kept subjects apart, and exams reduced years of effort into a mere two-digit number, 99%, 76%, 48%. But that system that I grew up in, and most of us grew up in, not the children today, worked for a world of factory of jobs. But our children, all of you sitting here, live in a different reality. A teenager in the beautiful city of Jodhpur might be collaborating with another teenager in Johannesburg. A 12-year-old in a small town might be coding an app to be used across the globe. And yet, our classrooms still train us for borders that no longer exist. Now, how can we prepare our children for a borderless world with an education that still draws boundaries? So, and I've seen this tension up close. As a faculty development coach, I have worked with teachers from Jammu to Kerala. It would not be wrong to say from Nepal to Kerala, and also from Aurangabad to Surat. The problems have been the same everywhere. I've seen teachers come up to me and ask me, "Ma'am, what future can I give my children?" Because I can't even imagine. And in a rural school, once a teacher came up to ask me, the conversation took place in Hindi, but she said, "Ma'am, what can I give my students? I have no resources." And I said to her, give them creativity, constructivity, and curiosity, creativity, and empathy. Easy to remember, CCE, curiosity, creativity, and empathy, because these are the currencies of the future and of learning. And I don't say this as a trainer. I say this as a lifelong student myself. At 41, I collected the university gold medal for B.Ed. And at that time, my boy was studying in class 11, my daughter in class 4. At 70, I'm sitting in the M.Ed classroom, standing up to greet professors half my age, submitting assignments just like any other students. And if I can be a student again, anyone can be. Education is not a stage of life, it is a way of life. So let's have this vision together. The geography, the education without borders would be beyond geography. Imagine a child in a village, in a desert village, logging in on a simple device from the same resources as a child in a small city or a big city. Technology can bridge the gap, but technology alone isn't enough. It needs policy, intent, and human will. And we are the ones who are going to bring up the policy, the intent, and the human will. Technology alone won't do anything. Beyond culture. In a workshop in Kerala once, I asked the teachers to tell me a story about their culture. Very few people would be aware that in Kerala there is a culture of planting a jackfruit, a banana, and a coconut tree the moment they purchase a plot. So there is more environmental consciousness in Kerala, and they plant these 3 plants. So this is the Kerala story that came to me. At the same time, a teacher from Rajasthan spoke of sand dunes, lack of greenery, paucity of water. The students from Kerala and the students from Rajasthan may never meet. But if they hear their stories, they will learn empathy, they will learn understanding. Then, this is beyond culture, beyond disciplines. Real problems, everyday problems, do not come labeled math or history. Take climate change, for example. It needs artists, it needs poets, it needs scientists, it needs economists, and even engineers. We must train students to connect ideas and not just learn or memorize chapters. Beyond exams, marks do not define a child. What defines children is art. Art would be adaptability, resilience, and teamwork. A child or a student who learns to collaborate with his peers abroad or learns to collaborate with students in a different school would certainly be better than a child who scores 99% or 98%. Beyond age and stage, we must normalize learning at any age. I come back to myself. In my MEd class, I sit beside students who are younger than my own children, but when we discuss ideas, age disappears, only curiosity remains. When we break these boundaries, education becomes alive. It prepares not just workers, but global citizens. And if we want a borderless world, we must begin with borderless classrooms. Teachers must become facilitators of dialogue and not creators or deliverers of content. Parents must stop asking, what rank did my child get? Rather than they should ask, what difference can my child make? And students must learn to think globally but act locally. Education is not about filling the mind with facts. It is about freeing minds from boundaries. So let me leave you with this vision. Imagine a child in Jaipur opening a history book on the same page as a child in Finland, and they both read the same page. East and the West, India, which is, of course, steeped in heritage, and Finland is renowned for world-class education. Also, picture a child sitting in Jodhpur or Jaipur, sharing history with a peer in Tokyo. India and Japan, cultures of depth and dynamism, meeting across time zones, innovation, tradition, and global resonance, weaving a new story of togetherness and coming together. Where scientists and artists solve problems together, where age does not limit learning, where empathy matters as much as knowledge. And also, I once judged a debate competition where in Kuwait, in a school in Kuwait, where the participants were from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai. And that is the education we have to think of. Also, learning has no age. I wish to end with a quote by Rabindranath Tagore, where knowledge is free and the world awakes. But instead of the world, I'm saying where education awakes to freedom. Thank you.